Hello, I'm Anna from Yarra Libraries, and this week is Children's Book Week. I love Children's Book Week. It's a week where we get together and celebrate fabulous Australian authors and illustrators and books in general. Hooray! One of the best things about Children's Book Weeks is costumes and dressing up. The theme for Children's Book Week this year is Curious Creatures and Wild Minds. It's a great theme for inspiration for a costume, and I'm going to show you how to make a curious creature at home using materials that you might find around the house. Before I got started for making my costume, I had a look at a few books to get some ideas. I had a look at this book here called the Gruffalo. I think you might know it. Well, the Gruffalo truly is a curious creature and a little bit wild. I had a look at another book that I really like called The Bunyip of Berkeley's Creek. It's a classic Australian book, and there's a very strange and mysterious creature called a bunyip in it. Have you ever seen a bunyip? Well, have a look at these illustrations. There's some really good ideas for a costume in there. Another book I looked at is called The Quangle Wongle's Hat. There's lots of fat, feathery creatures. Have a look at that one. And ones with wild. There's another feathery creature. And there's so many here. Look at that one with curly whirlies. Very unusual. And one last picture of some wild creatures. And lots of ideas in there. I could have shown you all of them for a costume. And last but not least, I read Where the Wild Things Are. Well, as you know, that book's cram-packed full of wild creatures. I think I've got plenty of ideas from all these books that I've had a look at for my creature costume. So, let's get making. Let's have a look at the materials that I'm going to use to make the costume. I'm going to use some cardboard from a cardboard box. I'm going to make a kind of scaly creature, and to make scales I'm going to use some plastic bottle tops, some orange bag, some material, paper, leftover wrapping paper that I have. I'm going to use a bit of wool, maybe some leaves, a bit of flour that I had, and I'm going to use some pom-poms. If you'd like to know how to make pom-poms, check out Lizzie's fantastic video on Yarra Libraries Vimeo, and she shows you how to make them. Also, I'm going to use some cardboard tube knitting, and if you'd like to know how to make cardboard tube knitting, well, you can check out Andrew's video on Yarra Libraries Vimeo, and he shows you how to make that. I'm going to use some sticky tape, glue. Glue is going to be our best friend for this costume. I'm going to use lots of glue, and that's about it. I'm going to cut a piece of cardboard that's the right size for the front of my costume, and I'll do a similar thing when I make my back. Cut, snip, snip, snip. And then I'll cut around to make a neck piece, a little flap that will go over my shoulders, those flaps, and then I'm going to shape it, make it an interesting shape. Shape. Snip, snip, snip. And then we've got a bit more shaping. And we've got our basic costume front piece. Now I'm ready to decorate. I'm going to stick down bottle tops first using lots of glue and leaving them to dry a bit so they don't fall off. And I'm going to add on layer and layer of different materials to build a nice texture for my costume. Layer upon layer of different materials. So I built up lots of layers with all my different materials, gum leaves, pom-poms, bits of cardboard tube, knitting, bottle tops, paper, almost anything that I could find. And my costume's got a great texture to it now, and it's looking really interesting. I've got all the bits of my costume now. I've got the front, which is covered with all its material and looking quite magical. And I've got the back, which I use the same template as the front. And these flaps, I'm going to tape these flaps to these flaps using this strong sticky tape, and that'll go over my head. I also made some arm pieces made from cardboard with the cardboard tube knitting and some orange bag, one for each arm. Very simple to do. And my headpiece. For my headpiece, I got more leftover cardboard from the box and I taped it in a circle together like that, and then I decorated it. I made some ears and some horns. Let me pop it on and we'll have a look. There we go. There's me horns made from scrunched up paper and my ears and just a bit of decoration. I'm going to put it all together now, and then we're going to have a costume parade. Here I am in my costume. It's all put together. The front, the back, the arms, and the headpiece with my horns and my ears. And I think it's looking quite wild and strange and fabulous. I hope I've given you some ideas of some simple things that you can do at home to make a wonderful costume from mainly recycled materials. Have a great book week, happy costume making, and it's goodbye from this curious creature.